Hello Steve, today is Tuesday, April the 22nd. And I've decided to start this video while I wait for the San Jose Sharks and LA Kings to start playing overtime hockey. So while your Tuesday evening may be ending, the fun of mine has just begun. Right now it's been a very enjoyable playoff for both the NHL and the NBA. As usual, there's a lot of really exciting games going down, as there's 8 series in the NHL and 8 series in the NBA, totaling 16 series to follow. And even though the later rounds are of most importance, I always enjoy the first rounds the most, just simply because of the sheer epicness of possibilities. So here's a quick recap of how we're doing in our pits. We both pit Boston, and they're up 2-1. We both pit Pittsburgh, and they're up 2-1. We both pit Anaheim, who are up 2-1, and we also both pit San Jose, who are up 2-0 and going into overtime right now. In the 2 other series we agree on, we've both been incorrect so far. The Philadelphia Flyers and Chicago Blackhawks are both losing 2-1. But what's going to really separate us is what happens in the series that we disagree on. You like Colorado, and I like Minnesota, and so far advantage you, because they're up 2-1. You like Tampa Bay, and I like Montreal, and Montreal ended up sweeping the series 4-0. So that means you can do, at best, tied with me after the first round. And also gives me the bragging rights of saying that the team I picked swept, and the team you picked got swept. And I do get bragging rights even if it was done by the hated Montreal Canadiens. As for the basketball playoffs, the Toronto Raptors won today, and even their series at 1 game apiece. And some other really interesting things happened in the NBA playoffs. 5 road teams out of 8 won Game 1, which is pretty unheard of in the NBA. And then in Game 2, the Memphis Grizzlies won on the road, and that means in at least 6 of the series, the road team has the advantage. So we're looking at a lot of possible first-round upsets. The series I'm watching the closest is the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Houston Rockets. It is by far the most exciting basketball games. Game 1 of that series was won by Portland in overtime and included Portland forward LaMarcus Aldridge scoring an unbelievable 46 points. And it should only continue to get more exciting from there. And now it's time for me to briefly pause shooting this video in order to watch some playoff Sharks hockey. I'll be right back in a moment. And we're back, and let me start by saying, goal! And not long into the overtime period, a fluky flutterball goal is scored by none other than Patrick Marleau. And that gives the Sharks a commanding 3-0 lead in the playoff series. And if they can complete the sweep by winning Game 4, that'll be the second straight year they swept in the first round. So after all that excitement, now let's finally talk about something other than sports. This past 4-day weekend, I had an opportunity to cook 3 new meals. I learned how to cook a pizza from scratch. I learned a quick and easy 4-ingredient recipe for meatballs and rice. And this should be really useful in situations where I don't really feel like putting too much time into cooking. I also learned a much more complicated dish that I'm not sure how to classify. It involved penne, grape tomatoes, spinach, sausages, and a lot of Romano and mozzarella cheese. It's a meal that takes quite a while to make, but the end result is quite worth it. I'll show you some photos of these meals at a later date. I am a little bit behind in showing the photos, but they're coming soon. Finally, a little bit of Battleship. Your previous shot was a hit, and sunk my submarine. For my net shot, I take aim at the only maximum probability area left on the board. And that spot is F6. So that's it tonight after working a little bit of overtime. Let's keep going Sharks.